Hey bad boys, today we are going to try to solve the design conundrums that are stumping my subscribers. I have two spaces that are submitted by y'all. One is a desperately depressing balcony, and one is a makeshift eyesore of a bedroom sent to us from a war zone. Yes, you heard me correctly. We're going to do some fun designing, yes, but my main goal of these videos is to teach a man to fish. I'm going to talk through how I start thinking about and designing a space that I have no idea how to fix. Here we go. Oh, these are some of the favorite, maybe some of the most popular videos on my channel, and I love doing them. We have some really cool spaces today. Someone's gonna get mad at me for holding my mic like this. Every video, a lot of people get mad at me for holding the mic. I think this is how it sounds best, and it gives me something to do with my hands. So you're just gonna have to deal with it. That's a you problem. Here we go. There's a form linked in the description of this video and all videos like this where you can submit your space if you would like to get some virtual design feedback. You might be featured in a video. And I've selected some fun and challenging ones for today. And I like to tackle the rooms that feel the most difficult. Stumpers, I'd say. For the first room, 𝗙𝗚𝗟𝗏 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I hope I said that correctly. Submitted her little balcony space. She writes that it is outdated, it isn't put together, the lights are off. It's not a space I would have barbecue with my friends comfortably because the space isn't welcoming or practical to be used. Well said. Thank you for sharing your space, 𝗙𝗚𝗟𝗏. Okay, so this balcony, it looks challenging. It's very uninspiring. This is technically an outdoor space, but there's not really any hint of the outdoors out here. It is a concrete, solitary confinement isolation cell, as far as we can tell. Looks like a little fake turf, looks like a little patio floor she put in. I feel like this is one she put in, which is a great solution to add, a little bit of interest. I kind of put a similar one into the balcony makeover I did for Justin. Great video. Check it out. That one's a banger. My main goal in this space would be to bring more of the outdoors to this little balcony. Right now, it's just this concrete cell. And I think my main goal is to see how we can minimize all this concrete and maybe maximize the natural elements out here. So first of all, I will say this room was kind of a stumper to me. This is one I was looking at and I was like, I don't know can you even nail things up in concrete? I genuinely don't know what can be done here. And so I'm gonna walk you through my process of just figuring stuff out when I really don't know. So what I do in a position like that, start with a Google. I learned this term when I was in coding school, and they would just call it your Google fu, like kung fu. Your weapon is your ability to refine your Google searches to find answers to the things you don't know. So let's use a little Google fu, and I literally searched concrete balcony makeover. There has to be at least one person out there who's done something, and I want to just start looking at some ideas, seeing what I don't like, what doesn't feel effective to me, and most likely I'm not going to see a whole balcony makeover. That is exactly what I want to do, but I'm looking for an idea here or there. So literally just start with the Google, and I start making a little idea list. It doesn't have to be stuff I'm definitely going to do or use, but just options. So I found this one where they'd put little string lights on wrapped around the railing itself. I think that's a lovely idea. I think that could be great to do. Let's pin it. This is an example of one I don't love the upgrade. I feel like they've just made it very busy. This kind of tells me, okay, we do want to bring in plants as they've done, but I want plants brought in a way that feels more cohesive, like bigger groupings of plants, not all these little individual things. That's what I'm learning from that, personal opinion. This one is interesting. They've added a kind of bamboo mat around the perimeter of the wall. That is very interesting to me because that could be a way to bring in more of that natural element. I'll pin it. Okay, now I click in and do a deeper dive. How did they attach this bamboo? So these people glued it up. I'm not going to recommend that you start gluing in this rental place. I wouldn't. So then I literally Googled, how can you hang stuff on concrete walls? And there's a Reddit thread for that, y'all. And here these people are literally talking about how it's so, you could just put a nail in and it's really easy to cover. Concrete walls are the most structurally sound kind of walls. You're not gonna like have a crack running through it or impair the integrity of the wall. Also, looking at the wall currently, there are already nails and hooks hung in the concrete. So clearly it is okay to do, and you can putty over it anyway. So TLDR, just do a little Googling. The internet is excessively expansive. That is usually a bad thing, but it is a good thing when you are looking to solve a very specific issue. Just start gathering little ideas you see people doing and try out, see what works. Okay, we have a couple ideas and the general goals. Let's address functionality. I actually really like the little table and chair she has out here. Design style wise, I like it. Looks like something I would own, but I think it does not make good use of a very tight space. We can either move that to the front and have it like closer to the front. Yeah, we could put it up against that wall. Actually, that would be pretty cute. But I'm going to remove it from that little cozy nook back there. And instead, let's just shove an outdoor banquette back there. I can't tell exactly how big it is, but based on the fact that she had the chair, a table, and another chair, I think there's room for at least 3 seats on a little couch there, and probably at least 2 on the end. 5 people, boom, roasted. If we want a tabletop out there, I would probably do a very small round table. Round, I think, is better when you're in a tight space because you won't be nicking and bruising yourself as much as I usually am. I like this idea of wrapping the walls in like a bamboo mat. And with a little Googling, I'm thinking the easiest way to do that is either with just like little nails in the wall that will like hook. You can hook the bamboo mat on. It looks like some people are also using like putty, like Gorilla Putty. I'm wary of that. I have a feeling like that would come undone. But I think you can get some kind of hook or nail and just get it up there. Okay, and then there's a good amount of space in the front half of this little balcony, and I think we could add another sitting area that doesn't take up a lot of floor space. I'm gonna say let's do one of those little bar top tables that just attach to a wall. I used one in the makeover I did on Justin's balcony, and I think that's really nice. Make it a little bar top. We can get some little stools. I'm gonna say this, for the love of God, get a stool with a footrest. Do not ever make me sit on a bar stool with a footrest. Do not make me. Go for a backrest too, if you like. But for the love of God, hell is a bar stool with no footrest. Please do not do it. No one will be happy. Could be fun to go with a little pop of color here. Maybe a red, okay? But the important part is the footrest. And then you've got a little like bar seat overlooking your view. Come on, that's fun. I'd say let's get these lanterns. They're sitting on the floor over there. Let's get those off the floor. You can hang those somewhere. But we don't want to be taking up the very minimal floor space. Maybe we put a bench over there. Got some additional seating. Those people in the bar can turn around. Boom, second conversation area. Or if you don't want to get a new bench, maybe bring that table and chairs over from the front and move it over there. Another sitting area. Boom. Now we have two to 3 conversation areas. Amazing. And don't be cruel. Give them a side table. Maybe continue with whatever color scheme you've landed on. I'm going with red because I think it's fun. Now I think I just want to add in more nature. So I literally Googled how to hang plants over a wall. Someone has to be doing it. I found these little bracket guys that hold planters. There's some planter holder hooks that go over the handrail. You could do that. I found some that go over like a squared off wall. There are these other ones too that actually sit on top. I kind of like that too. So it really depends on the specific dimensions and specifications of your space, but one of these is going to work. I would go hard on these bad boys. Just cover that wall perimeter. I think it'd be fun to do some greenery and just like echo whatever color you pick. So I'm going to go with the red flowers, and it's just like, boom, we're engulfed. I mean, that is so fun. This is like better than most restaurant patio gardens. You know what I mean? Now, speaking of restaurant patio decor, I feel like what they usually do, or at least in DC, what they always do is they get like plastic flowers or plastic vines to hang from the ceiling, and they like, call it Instagram worthy. I hate that. I really do. Like plasticky plants and they're so clearly plastic, I think it actually cheapens your space. I really, it's a hard vote against like the plastic vines, the plastic flowers, plastic plants. I would rather you put nothing up there than put that. Just like let the sky be there. But instead, she's got a couple lengths of string lights. Maybe add some more, and then from those string lights or from various hooks, you could hang some lanterns, some big ball lanterns, big red paper lanterns. I think would be really, really fun. And I don't want to block like too much of the sky, but I think that would just make it kind of complete the immersive experience. I mean, all that being said, if you have the wherewithal to grow real vines over there, good for you, do it. I don't. I would probably go the lantern route. I do want to add in more nature. Let's hit it with some potted plants. Some, spots where like they won't really be in the way, kind of like a bookend. I personally would go with a terracotta planter here. I love terracotta pots. They're still nice and like natural. It's clay, so a natural material, but it adds a little bit of color. It's not just like more white or more wood out here. I love terracotta. I could kind of consider terracotta like a neutral. Then I say, let's throw some string lights around that railing like we saw earlier, because why not? Yeah, this place is cute as hell. This place is cute as freaking hell. I'm going to slap that couch with maybe a little, I feel like that couch needs a little outdoor accent pillow, a little yellow pillow maybe. I actually think this really looks like it would reasonably fit in this space. I would be delighted to walk up here if you were my friend, which you are, I assume. You feel like a friend to me, and have a little barbecue up there. It looks really cozy. Yeah, I would just like build up that garden wall, build up that cozy feeling, bring in the nature, and you don't have to do all of these things. These are a bunch of ideas. Pick which ones feel exciting and accessible to you. Yeah, I think this space feels adorable. I'm just complimenting my own work. I am so interested in this little outdoor sink. I have so many questions about it. Oh, and there's an outdoor shower too. Cute. Okay. Well, I don't know what the deal is with that, but I think you'll figure it out. Wow, what a delight. Now on to the next space. Actually, no, first we're going to take an important break, and I'm going to make you look at my outfit because I think it's really important. Okay, this is my new dress. Goes all the way to my toes. Flouncy, fresh, breezy. It's been 109 degrees with humidity in DC for like 2 weeks. And it's hard to go outside, and it's hard to wear anything. But I really like this. Look at the pretty little details. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I think it's cute, and I demand compliments. That's all I'm here to say. It's from Cézanne. I'll link it. Okay. Thanks for looking at my clothes. It's me sitting on my dress. I know most people get paralyzed a lot when trying to decorate their home because it costs money, and nobody wants to like invest in that purchase to then find that it has not gotten them to their design goal. So I want to talk through how I try to mitigate that risk when designing my own space. We are going to hop on to Milanote, which I highly recommend for assembling a design plan. I don't know how you can like design a space without it, whether you're doing one room, multiple rooms, or some creative project that is just visual, but it's not interior design. And I did ask Milanote to sponsor this video, and I'm about to show you why. This is my home screen where it organizes all my different design projects. I've used this for branding for my podcast. I've used it for each of my room makeovers. By the way, this is my Dark Academia room makeover. Part 1 came out like 9 months ago, and Part 2 is coming out. There were just a lot of like complications that happened, but that video is coming out probably within a month or so, I'm gonna say. A couple other things here, to-do lists that I keep for like what I'm doing next in my home, and then all of the design work I'm doing for my home, which has many rooms. So on my general board for the home, these are color palettes for the whole home. I have all the hex numbers right here. Then I've also got an immediate link onto the color palette generator that I swear by. And I do like to have my original measurements in here, so I just take a photo and I can upload it very easily. Okay, let's go into the guest bedroom. Now I did remove some stuff from my boards because I don't want to give away everything that I'm doing in upcoming makeovers. But for example, here was when I was linking out different options for going the route of a sleeper sofa, which I have now decided I'm not gonna do, but I can't show you everything else I was gonna do. We just take that image right there, Can plop it in. And then everything is here with imagery, with notes, with links in a cohesive vision with our floor plan. What else can I show you without giving everything away? Okay, let's hop into the study. So I've got my floor plan over here. There's gonna be some adjustments, but I can't show you that. Link out to the floor plan, considering a couple different rugs. This is a rug I found that I'm obsessed with, but it cost $5,000, so it's not happening. But I still like to have like a collection that keeps the vision front and center. And then when I'm shopping for this room, if I find a decor item I love that does not feel cohesive with like even just this rug mood board, then it's probably not something I actually want in the space. So this is kind of my North Star then. That's what Milanote is great for, is basically being a North Star. Walls. I've got a whole board that's just for wallpaper, paint colors. I have them grouped in a couple different like color tones. I was like doing some fun stuff with stripes. I linked here to a Pinterest board that I have. It's really easy to pull images from Pinterest. We can click into this subboard. These are images that I save that like maybe get close to a style I like, but something's off. And if I executed it this way, it would be dissatisfying to me. I think this is really important. So for example, this is not an ugly room. This is a lovely room, but as a personal preference, I do not like how the orange-red tone of the wood is like polar opposite of the blue wallpaper. The vibrancy is too similar in these, the saturation is too similar, and the color tone is too opposite. It's too intense of a contrast. And I often like to leave a note in there of like what I learned from this image, why I saved it to my inspo board, or why I saved it to my anti-inspo board, because I feel like looking at these photos is a way of learning and educating yourself about design. I do also like to keep just a general wish list of random items I find, products I find that I don't have an immediate space or use for, but they're so unique and something about them speaks to me so hard that maybe I'll buy them one day, but really what I want is a place to write notes about why they speak to me. Milanote is like if Pinterest and Google Docs and a whiteboard had a very organized baby. You can drag in images, add checklists, add notes, map out entire workflows, and connect everything visually with little arrows and columns. It syncs across devices, and you can even share boards with any collaborator. And if you're not sure where to begin with a board, Milanote has over 100 built-in templates to help you get started with whatever kind of creative work. I use them all the time. Whenever I'm kind of like feeling lost, working on a room design, I can come back here and refocus on what is exciting to me design-wise over and over and over. So if you're struggling with like staying on target with your designs, you have to check out Milanote. You guys can sign up for free in the link in the description of this video. That's free with no time limit. It's free as long as you want. And that's at milanote.com/CarolineWinkler0725. But I'll put the link in the description of the video. It's a must-have, must-have. Okay, the second space, a subscriber wrote, "Hi, I'm from Ukraine. I love your channel and your personality." Heart emoji. Thank you for the emoji. "I live in the rental apartment and here was no renovation since 1989. It's very cheap, so we don't mind. This year we decided to change wallpapers and it brought more light to this room, but I still don't feel like it's a warm, cozy home. Unfortunately, we can't buy new furniture, but I was thinking about sticking wallpaper up or painting, so I decided to ask for a fresh and very talented glance. It would be great to receive some feedback from you. Thank you for inspiring me to live despite all that me and my country are going through." Wow. Sent from Natalia in Ukraine. I will say this is actually not the first time I've been sent. There's a lot of subscribers in Ukraine actually who've submitted their spaces, but something about this message, just like, I love you so much. Bless this baby girl. Thank you for such kind words. That is amazing to hear that something as frivolous as this YouTube channel is, you know, something that you're enjoying when your life is probably hell right now. Yeah, I hardly know what to say to that. What I do know what to say to the rest of y'all, let this be proof that there is never an excuse to not do something nice to treat yourself, maybe make your home a little spruced up, do something sweet to take care of yourself, because 𝗙𝗏𝗟𝗏 is literally living in a war zone, okay? And it's not stopping her. So if she can do it, we can do it. Yeah, that was just like a admirably sweet and kind of inspiring little message. Thank you, Natalia, and thank you for sending your space in. So Natalia submitted a room that it looks like is being used for a bunch of different purposes. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that this is both your bedroom and your office. There are these giant, like, orangey oak cabinets that are like this built-in cabinetry. I'm pretty sure that is attached to the wall. I don't think that's moving. There is a red floor. This looks like a painted red concrete floor or something. There is one window. God bless. But overall, when I'm looking at this room, I'm like, it's very orange. It's very orange. We've got the orange cabinetry. We've got the red floor. And I do see she's, tried to cover some of that up with a rug. And she says, can't buy any new furniture right now. Totally fine. You're in a war. But she said she is open to, it sounds like, wallpapering or painting, doing some minimal upgrades to make it feel fresh, bright, uplifting, and also cozy and like a home. Give it a little bit of a homier feel. I'm going to start with those baseline upgrades that I think will help you. And then I'm also going to add a bunch of other things on top. You do not have to do all of these. It's just giving you a bunch of ideas so you can cherry pick what you would like to do. But I definitely think that we can get this to feeling like a more uplifting, fresh, homier space. Here we go. So the number one thing I want to do is to start by trying to balance out the most overwhelming feature of this room, which is that orange red that's everywhere. So what I would start with here is by thinking like a little bit of color theory. What colors can we bring into the room to balance out all the warm tones? This means they're super warm tones, so let's look at a cooler color, such as blue, to balance out the intensity of the warmth. But in addition to just going like warm, cool, I also think about balancing out the vibrancy. So for example, the orange is very vibrant in the cabinets. So if we put a blue in there that is also very vibrant, it's going to feel very intense. I would like to balance that with a blue that is like less saturated, a little dustier sometimes, a little more gray, not super, super bright blue. And I think this is relevant for basically any time you're trying to balance built-in cabinetry or like something you cannot move. It's going to be there and maybe you can't paint it. Think about a color that will balance it, but then also think about balancing the vibrancy. Natalia said she's down to do wallpaper. I'm always down for a wallpaper. So I would like to find some kind of like medium blue to light blue toned blue wallpaper that has a little bit of a pattern, that's not too busy, it's not going to get exhausting, it's not overwhelming. Found it, Olive Grove. And I'll tell you what, I found this wallpaper on, I believe it's called Higgy & West. Doesn't matter, but they have a great visualizer, like an AI visualizer that you can use to see how a wallpaper will look in your room. I literally uploaded Natalia's photo of her room, and it is a really good visualizer because the visualizer actually accounts for like light against different walls. Yeah, do recommend. I'm going to link all the products I talk about, the visualizer, everything in the description. And Higgy & West, if you ever want to sponsor me, no one's going to stop you. Now, other things we can do to the walls. I am going to say something radical right now, which I don't usually say, but I might actually remove the curtains. I just think the orange and green is so cemented as a color combo of like mid-century style. It is not going to feel as fresh as you want it to. You said you want to brighten up, freshen up. Orange and green is really fun if you want to go like full mid-century and like keep it kind of moody, but I would kind of avoid the orange-green color combo. I prefer kind of a lighter, brighter feeling. Personal opinion, not a rule, just my thoughts, as goes for everything on this channel. And also, I think having drapes at the end of the room there is actually just making the whole space feel like kind of heavier and kind of more grandmotherly. I'd say let's make it as like crisp and fresh as we can. Let's just do no drapes. If you want to have something dressing the window, maybe do like a little woven Roman shade or something up top. Overall, I want to just make this like clean lines, fresh. Let's minimize on like the heavy grandmotherly things we're putting in there. Sorry to the grandmas. I have so many grandmas who watch my channel. You guys know what I mean. You know what I mean. Honestly, the grandmas who watch my channel are the chillest people here. The craziest ones are like, well, they're not the grandmas. The grandmas are like the most chill. Another little tidbit you can do is to just really like add some definition here. I want to really define that border where the wallpaper meets the ceiling. Let's define it with a dark trim. Maybe like take a darker version of that blue on the wallpaper, maybe even a teal. Can't believe I'm recommending a teal, but I kind of like it in here. And it feels like we've put like a top. It feels like we put like a little cap on everything in a way that feels correct to me. And you can also paint the inside, your little shelf on the window and like the inside of the window. And you know what? Let's hit the door frame while we're at it too. Yeah, those little accents, those details make a big difference. Here's the other thing I need to say. I know a lot of people are like, well, will my landlord let me paint the trim? Landlord doesn't need to know. Stop asking permission for these things. Stop asking permission and just do shit. You can paint it back, okay? Or, as one of my subscribers geniusly commented one time, your security deposit is just a personality fee. Say, worst case, you lose your security deposit. That's the fee you pay for having a personality in a home you like. But in this case, I also think you don't even need to lose your security deposit. I've never lost my security deposit. You don't have to. You just paint it back. It's not a big deal. Stop asking permission for stuff. There's too many like nervous women in here. We got to stop asking permission. That's my main goal if I don't impart anything else to you. Okay, now let's address the floor. I'm going to say the rug that you have there is making it feel darker, more grandmotherly, less fresh and bright. And I know you said you can't buy any furniture and all that stuff, so I'm just gonna send you a rug, I've decided, because you need a new rug. Life is already hard enough for you as it is, and I think this is an upgrade that you really deserve in this space. It's one thing to be living through a war. It is another thing to have a concrete floor in your bedroom that is painted red. So you could go for a much lighter, almost light gray, bluish rug. You could go for a white or a cream if you trust yourself with that. I don't think I could handle that. Or I think the most realistic is to do something that's a light neutral but has a little bit of texture so it's more forgiving to dirt or, I don't know, cat hair. I saw you got a little cat. I love your cat. At one point, I was photoshopping your cat. I Photoshop all these things, all these images, and I had to Photoshop your cat out of the photo. And I actually stopped. Like, it felt like I was killing your cat. It felt really messed up. Then I was like, it's just a picture of a cat. It's not a real cat. Yeah, and again, I'm linking a bunch of rugs and a bunch of options below for anybody else who wants to look at these options. Let's talk about the light. I am not, like, horrifically bothered by all rental lights, but this one really is just like, it's metal and it's bare and there's spikes coming out. I'm not loving the light, and I'm not going to ask you to replace the light fixture. So there is a company, I know, I think it's called Tulip Shades, which sells like paper or canvas covers that can just attach over top of a boob light. Very nice. And I'm thinking there's a way we can jerry-rig a light cover. So I was doing a little Googling and I found a woman, she had a TikTok of her using, I think it was an IKEA lampshade that has like the lampshade rings. She cut open one of the rings and then just slid the whole thing on top of her chandelier, a huge chandelier. So I think this is doable. I found a nice like canvasy kind of lampshade. This will take a little bit of like jerry-rigging, but I think we can actually slip a little lampshade over the sky without you having to remove anything from the light fixture itself, just like this lady did in this TikTok. Now, as for the layout, there's a lot of dressers in this room, and I can't tell clearly enough from the photos like what the purpose or function of every piece is. I just can't see clearly enough, but if this were my room, I would try to find a way to cut down on at least one of these dressers. I think we can get rid of one by consolidating some things. There's this one on the far wall that just has like one tiny drawer, and it's mostly just holding stuff on top. It's holding like records and a record player on top, but 2 other dressers in this room don't have anything on top. So I vote, let's get rid of that one guy, move the record stuff maybe to the little brown cabinet, find another home for those blankets or whatever it is, and then the layout is gonna feel way better. And then next to the bed, I believe there is bed. I can see a little glimpse of what looks like a side table for the bed, and then it looks like a chair here and a taller dresser. Let's move that chair over to the other side now that we've gotten rid of one of those dressers, and we can dress it up to be a little reading corner. Now, what do you need for a reading corner? All you really need is some kind of table. It can be a small side table. It can be your dresser. It can be your desk, a chair, and a light source. Boom, it's a reading nook. You probably need a book, I guess, but like, who knows how to read? I don't. I would slap a lamp in there. Let's bring those shelves over above the record player. If you need another shelf, you can put another shelf up there. Let's bring that beautiful photograph. I'm assuming this is Natalia and her partner, or maybe it's just a random couple that you like to have hanging on your wall. Either way, let's bring that a little lower down. It's a little high up. And then other than that, you can just layer in any little things that feel cozy to you, like your cat, like your adorable little sheep stool. I love the sheep stool. Like your records, a plant, yeah, all just your cozy, sweet things. Now that is an intentional corner, not just a bunch of dressers stacked up. Then on the other side, we can give that bed a little bit of breathing room. We've got our side table. I'd love you to throw a lamp on it. I want to do a little rearranging of the art. You've got this one cool black and white guy over the door. I'm going to say, let's move it off of there. It's feeling a little cramped up there. I mean, I've had art over doors. It's not a bad thing to do, but when you have so much open wall space, a large piece would be more useful elsewhere. Could put it above this tall dresser, maybe take that little collection of 4 little artworks, put it above the bed. Maybe we can kind of make that into a grid. At this point, I would like to remind ourselves of this red floor, and let's make it feel intentional. Let's make it feel like a chosen accent color. And that can be any little thing. If we upgrade your bedding, I might keep the bedding nice, bright and white, fresh, but you could have a red throw blanket or a little red planter for a plant, pot for a plant. You could even get a little frame for this artwork in the back of the room that looks really sweet. Get it in red just to make that red feel carried throughout the room, feels intentional, lets the eye move around. It's a fun time. Okay, let's do a little flashback to how it started. Okay, not bad. It's working. It's orange. It's red. Doesn't feel that cozy. Doesn't feel that cohesive. Feels like we're just getting by. Kaboom. We've brought in some color. We've brought in some texture. We've condensed just slightly. We brought in some new elements. And as I said, you don't have to do all of these things. I like to give lots of options, not just for the subscriber, but for everybody else who's watching the video. Pick and choose a couple things that feel exciting for you to upgrade. It'll take you to a huge new place. And in case you do want to spend a little extra money on little accessories, little lamp, little planter, those things can add up and you don't need any more things to worry about. And I think you deserve a little pick-me-up, Natalia. So I'm going to send you a gift from me. In addition to the rug, I'm going to send you some money to spend on decor. Okay, I changed my mind, and instead of sending Natalia a rug, I'm just gonna send her a little chunk of money so she can pick her own rug, because maybe she doesn't like the one I picked, and pick her own decor. Or you know what, Natalia? Just spend it on whatever you want. I keep thinking about how I think there's some like tale about during the Great Depression when people, like, lipstick sales went up, even when people were like saving on so many other things. And the kind of summary narrative from that was that, like, even in a really hard time, people enjoyed spending on like something that was a small treat that celebrated like their human indulgences and the remaining like desire to have little moments of joy. It's like this lipstick concept of the Great Depression. Anyway, my point is, spend it on whatever you want. But if it's a rug or decor, I especially want to hear about it. Yeah, I was just really touched by this submission. This is like survivor spirit. Like, stuff is not going well. Stuff is hard. And the attitude of like, what can I do to still make my home feel homey? Like, that is an amazing attitude. You still shared your space with us. You're doing what you can to be nice to yourself in a hard time, and I think you deserve a little bit of a gift. And if any of the viewers out there would like to contribute and support the people of Ukraine, I have linked a great cause in the video description below. I really encourage you to check it out. And yeah, support our neighbors. Thank you, Natalia, for sharing your space. I'm sending you the biggest hug. Okay, that was so fun. Thank you, Pietra. Thank you, Natalia, for sharing your spaces. And now I'm gonna, it's the weekend, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for joining me today. I had a blast. Thanks to Paige, my editor, for editing this video. I know she did a great job. She's the best girl. She's the best girl. That's what I will say. If you like this design stuff and you want to see me designing not just on a screen, but in a real space, subscribe, damn it, because I'm doing a lot of room makeovers and I'm making over my entire home. And it's going to be cute and it's going to be fun. Okay? I'll see you soon. Okay, Paige, I'm going to give you this piece of footage that you can put in maybe as like a disclaimer that man has no pants on his butt. Okay. That you can slice in wherever to...